Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In our last episode, we uncovered a major twist. Tu Naha's ex-husband has secretly made his way back into Keat's life. He approached Keat under the guise of needing help, and Keat, being the kind-hearted soul he is, had no idea who this man truly was. But today, things are about to get even more intense. What happens when Tuna discovers the truth? That the man her current partner just welcomed into his workplace is none other than her ex. The same man who once hurt her deeply. Will she confront Keat? Will she try to keep it all a secret? Or will she take matters into her own hands to protect what she has now? This episode is packed with raw emotions, unexpected turns, and decisions that could change everything for all three of them. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into the latest chapter of this complicated love triangle. And remember, sometimes the past doesn't stay buried, especially when it shows up at your front door. It was a beautiful, quiet morning. The kind where the air feels fresh and everything seems just a little more peaceful. Tu Na sat on the front porch of her modest home, gently cradling her baby girl in her arms. The little one was wide-eyed and full of life, babbling happily as her tiny fingers played with the edge of Tu Na's sleeve. For a moment, it felt like time slowed down, just a mother and her child, sharing the early calm of a new day. But this morning wasn't just about bonding. Tu Na was waiting for someone important, a local government officer who had promised to stop by and help her complete the paperwork to register her daughter's birth. This was a big step for her, a milestone that carried not just legal meaning, but also emotional weight. Giving her daughter an official name, an identity, it meant hope, a new beginning. When the officer arrived, he was warm and understanding. He sat with Tu Na, reviewed the documents, and walked her through every step with patience. Their conversation was gentle and respectful, with moments of quiet laughter and shared understanding. For a woman who had been through so much, it was a comforting reminder that support still existed even in small, unexpected ways. Thanks to the officer's help and Tu Na's preparation, everything went smoothly. The forms were completed without issue, and all that remained was her final signature. With that done, the process was officially underway. In just a few more days, her daughter's birth certificate would be ready. It may seem like a simple errand to some, just paperwork. But for Tu Na, it was something much deeper. It was a declaration that her daughter belongs, that she has a place in this world, with a name, a record, and a future. It was one more step towards stability and recognition. As the officer left, and Tu Na watched him walk down the dusty path from her home, she held her daughter a little tighter. The sun was rising higher in the sky, and with it came a quiet sense of accomplishment, and maybe, just maybe, a feeling that brighter days are ahead. After chatting for a while with the local officer, Tu Na glanced up at the sky and realized the morning had slipped away faster than she thought. It was already too late to head out and harvest crops like she'd planned. So, she made a simple decision. Today, she'd stay home with her daughter. With a quiet smile, she turned her focus to something closer to home, her small garden. The front yard, though humble, had always brought her a sense of peace. She rolled up her sleeves and got to work, tending the soil and pulling out a few stubborn weeds. Then she brought out a handful of fresh seedlings, little bundles of green she had picked up at the market just the day before. There was something comforting about the rhythm of it all. She planted the young sprouts into a freshly prepared row of earth, gently pressing the soil around their roots. It wasn't anything fancy, just a few herbs, some leafy greens, but for Tu Na, this small act of care felt meaningful, a way of building something new, something hers. By the time she finished, the sun had climbed higher, and a familiar sound called her back, the soft cry of her daughter, waking from her nap. Tu Na hurried inside, scooped the little one into her arms, and returned to the porch where the breeze was light and the garden now freshly planted. There, the two of them sat mother and daughter quietly taking in the view. The green shoots, the gentle rustling leaves, the sunlight dancing on the ground. A simple moment, but one filled with love, growth, and quiet joy. And sometimes, that's all a day needs to be truly beautiful. Just as the morning had begun to settle into a peaceful rhythm, with Tu Na quietly rocking her daughter on the porch, a figure slowly appeared in the distance, thin, worn, and unmistakably familiar. Her heart tightened the moment she recognized him. It was her ex-husband. He approached quietly, his steps unsure, but determined. Tu Na looked up, her expression shifting a blend of sadness, unease, and frustration. She didn't get up, but her voice was firm. "What are you doing here?" He lowered his head slightly and replied in a soft, almost apologetic tone. "I just wanted to visit our daughter, and I brought a few things for her. Some clothes I picked up." He gently held out a small bag with neatly folded baby clothes inside, but Tu Na didn't take it. She shook her head. "Take them back," she said flatly. There was a pause, the kind that hangs heavy in the air when two people carry too much history between them. He didn't argue, but his voice grew a little steadier. I found a job up here," he said. "It doesn't pay much, but I've got a little money coming in now. I wanted to do something, even just a small thing for our daughter. Can't you accept it for her sake?" Tu Na looked at him for a long moment. Part of her wanted to stay guarded, to protect herself from reopening old wounds. But another part, the part that always put her daughter first, softened just enough. With a sigh, she took the bag. "Only for her," she said quietly. "Don't think this changes anything between us." He nodded. "I understand." Then almost offhandedly, she asked, "Where are you working?" "The lumber mill," he replied, "the one near the edge of town." That answer made her freeze for just a moment. She knew that place. Kiet worked there. Was it just a coincidence or something more? But she didn't say anything. Not yet. There would be time for that later. The silence between them returned, and Tu Na shifted her daughter in her arms as the little one began to drift back to sleep. "You should go," she said firmly, her voice leaving no room for argument. "She needs her nap." Without protest, he nodded and took a step back. "Thank you for letting me see her." Tu Na didn't respond. She just stood there, watching as he walked away, fading once again into the distance like a chapter she had tried so hard to close, only to find it turning itself back open. And as she gently carried her daughter inside to rest, her mind churned with new questions. Why that job? Why now? And what did this all mean for the peace she had tried so hard to build? After putting her daughter down for a nap, Tu Na stepped back outside and sank into the old wooden chair on her porch. The afternoon was quiet, but her mind was anything but. She couldn't shake the feeling, the nagging question that kept circling her thoughts like a restless wind. Which lumber mill was he talking about? Could it be the same place where Kiet works? The thought unsettled her. It clung to her, looping over and over again in her head. She wanted to brush it off as a coincidence, but something in her gut told her it wasn't that simple. She sat there for a long while, staring out into the yard, but seeing nothing, lost in a maze of possibilities and quiet worry. The peace she'd felt earlier that morning had slipped away, replaced by a growing tension she couldn't quite name. And she knew. She needed to find out the truth. As the sun dipped low into the horizon and cast a golden glow across the yard, Keith arrived at Tuna's home. It had become a comforting routine. His visits, his presence, the quiet way he made everything feel a little more normal. The two sat together on the porch, their voices blending with the sounds of evening crickets and a gentle breeze. They chatted easily at first, laughter weaving between their words. Then, in her usual gentle tone, Tuna asked, "So, today was your first day at the new job, right? How did it go?" Keith smiled. "Yeah, everything's going smoothly. Work's been busy, but good." She nodded, then paused just slightly before continuing, careful with her next words. "And, what about your old position? Did they find someone new for it yet?" "Oh," Keith replied casually. "I actually just hired someone to take over that spot. Things are picking up at the mill, so we needed the help. He's a young guy from out of town. Said he came here looking for his wife and child. Life's been tough on him, you can tell. So I gave him a shot." In that moment, Tuna's heart sank. The pieces in her mind clicked together with chilling clarity. Her suspicions had been right. The man Keith had hired was none other than her ex-husband. A wave of worry hit her, but she kept her expression calm. She couldn't let Keith see the storm she was holding back. Not now. She needed time to think, to understand why her ex had inserted himself into Keith's life and what his true intentions were. So, instead, she chose to protect the peace, at least for tonight. She pushed the anxiety deep down and smiled, continuing the conversation as if nothing had changed. Later, Keith helped her hang up a string of lights outside the porch. When he flicked the switch, the bulbs lit up like fireflies, casting a soft glow that wrapped around the house like a warm blanket. As he began to gather his things to head home, Tuna spoke up, her voice kind but hopeful. "It's getting dark. Why don't you stay and have dinner with me and the baby?" Keith looked at her for a moment, then smiled gently. "Well, sure, why not?" She handed him the baby and said with a small laugh, "Then you watch her for a bit while I cook." Keith chuckled and held the little one carefully in his arms. "You got it." And just like that, Tuna disappeared into the kitchen, carrying with her the weight of worry and the beginnings of a plan. Meanwhile, Keith stayed on the porch, gently bouncing the baby and smiling at her tiny giggles, completely unaware of the quiet storm brewing just beneath the surface.
Nhưng rồi, một bên là người chồng cũ, người đã khiến Tử Nha phải chịu đựng bao nhiêu năm tháng gian truân. Anh là người đã bỏ rơi cô và không một lời giải thích, bỏ lại mẹ con cô đối mặt với bao khó khăn mà không biết tìm ai để nương tựa. 2 năm qua, Tử Nha đã tự mình gánh vác mọi thứ, không một lời kêu ca, nhưng trong thâm tâm cô luôn đau đáu với câu hỏi: tại sao anh lại bỏ đi? Anh đã trở về, và sau bao năm tháng biệt tích, mang theo lời xin lỗi và sự hối hận. Những lời anh nói đầy ân hận, đầy mong muốn sửa sai. Nhưng liệu có thể xóa đi tất cả những tổn thương mà anh đã gây ra. Liệu Tử Nha có thể tha thứ cho anh sau tất cả những gì đã xảy ra? Sau bao nhiêu dài cô đơn, sau bao nhiêu nỗi đau mà cô phải gánh chịu? Tử Nha hít một hơi thật sâu, lòng đầy nặng trĩu, nhưng cô biết rằng dù quyết định thế nào, cô vẫn phải sống vì chính mình, vì con gái, vì những giấc mơ chưa hoàn thành. Những vết thương lòng sẽ dần lành theo thời gian, nhưng sự lựa chọn hôm nay sẽ là quyết định tương lai của cô và con gái.